Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to present my project. My name is Safna Khoira Nabila from class 5A, and today I would like to present my semantic file project. In this project, I analyze real language data taken from daily conversations, group chat, announcements, and social media using semantic theories, mainly from Alan Hurst and Said 2016. The goal of this project is to show how semantic concepts are applied in real-life communication, not only in theory. I will present my project in 10 main semantic categories, starting from Dexis and ending with speech act. I will begin with Dexis, which refers to expressions whose meanings depend on context. The first is person Dexis. Person Dexis refers to words that show who is involved in the interaction, such as I, you, she, he, or possessive form. In my data, there is a chat where Asa asked permission to borrow a spare room key, but the message causes confusion at first. The word I refers to Asa as the speaker, while Ibu refers to the boarding house owner. According to Said, person Dexis can only be understood if we know who is speaking and who is being referred to. Without that shared context, the meaning becomes unclear and may lead to misunderstanding. That is why clarification is important in daily communication. Second is spatial dexis. Spatial dexis shows locations such as here, there, and etc. In this case, the phrase di sana refers to Safna's location, not the speaker's. However, the exact place is not mentioned explicitly. The meaning of di sana can only be understood of the listeners knows where Safna is at that moment. For outsiders, the location remains unclear. This shows that spatial dexis strongly depends on shared situational context. The third is temporal dexis. Temporal dexis refers to time expressions such as now, tomorrow, and etc. In one example, the speaker suggests a meeting time using the word besok and lusa without mentioning a specific date. This expression change meaning depending on when the message is sent. If the reference time is not clear, it may cause scheduling confusion. This shows how temporal dexis can affect coordination in everyday communication. Next is lexical relations. Lexical relations discuss how words are related to each other in meaning. In this analysis, I focus on four types: polysemy, homonymy, synonymy, and antonymy. The first is polysemy. Polysemy is when one word has several related meanings. In my data, the word kepala appears in expressions like kepala sekolah and kepala charger. In kepala sekolah, the word refers to a leader, while in kepala charger, it refers to a part of an object. Even though the meaning are different, they are still related. According to Said, polysemy comes from a shared core concept. In this case, kepala refers to the main or most important part of something because the meaning are connected and not random. This example clearly shows polysemy. Context helps us decide which meaning is intended. The second is homonymy. Homonymy occurs when two words have the same form but completely unrelated meanings. In my data, the word tahu can mean to know or tofu. These two meanings have no semantic relationships at all. Because of that, without context, the word can easily cause misunderstanding. This shows that homonymy depends heavily on contextual information to be understood correctly. The third is synonymy. Synonymy refers to words that have similar meanings. In my data, the words cepat and lekas appear together in the expression cepat lekas membaik. Both words express the idea of speed and quickness. According to Said, perfect synonymy is rare, but near synonyms are common. In this example, the word do not feel redundant. Instead, they strengthen emotional meaning, especially in expression of hope or prayer. This shows that synonymy can function not only semantically but also rhetorically. The fourth is antonymy. Antonymy involves words with opposite meanings. In my data, words like atas and bawah are used to show spatial contrast. These opposite meanings help speakers describe position clearly because the contrast is obvious. This type of expression rarely causes ambiguity. Next is reference. Reference explains how words are used to point to people or things, often based on shared knowledge. The first is indefinite reference. Indefinite reference is used when the speaker doesn't clearly identify the referent. In my data, the word someone is used when asking about a person who contacted Tasha. The speaker doesn't mention who the person is and doesn't assume that the listeners knows. This makes someone an indefinite reference because the referent is introduced in a vague way. The second is definite reference. Definite reference occurs when speaker assumes shared knowledge with the listeners. In my data, the phrase "this book" is used in an academic context. The speaker doesn't explain which book is meant because both speakers already know it. This makes communication more efficient, but it depends on shared context. Okay, the third is anaphora. Anaphora is a reference that points back to something mentioned earlier. In my data, the pronouns she refers back to Kaita. Instead of repeating the name, the speaker uses a pronoun. This creates cohesion and makes the message sounds more natural. The fourth is kataphora. Kataphora is a reference that appears before the referent is explained. In my data, the word "this" appears at the beginning of an assignment message. After that, the message explains the assignment in detail. Because the explanation follows immediately, the reference is clear and effective. Okay, the next is ambiguity. Ambiguity happens when a word or sentence can be understood in more than one way. The first is lexical ambiguity. Lexical ambiguity occurs when one word has more than one meaning. In my data, the word berat is used when comparing two divisions. It can mean physically heavy or heavy in responsibility. Because the message doesn't clarify the meaning, readers may interpret it differently. Another example is the word mati used to describe a bedroom lamp. It can mean temporarily not working or completely broken. Without further explanation, the meaning remains unclear. And second is structural ambiguity. Structural ambiguity happens because of unclear sentence structure. In my data, instructions about going to Islamic Center building and to gymnasium building are unclear. The sentence doesn't clearly state who should go where first. As a result, different readers may understand the instruction differently. And next is politeness. Politeness refers to how speakers use language to maintain good social relationship. The first is peer communication. In my data, when classmates ask for help or documentation, they avoid direct comments. They use softer expressions to sound polite. This shows that politeness is important even among peers. And the second is junior-senior interaction. In message from juniors to seniors, greeting and apologies appears at the beginning. This shows respect and awareness of hierarchy. And the third is students, lecturers, communication. In communication with lecturers, requests are expressed indirectly and respectfully. This reflects academic norms and professionalism. Next is presuppositions, refers to information that is assumed to be already known. The first is personal expression. In my data, a caption expressing regret presupposes a past event. The event is not explained, but it is understood to exist. The second is daily coordination. A message asking to leave early presupposes a previous experience of being late. The third is group communication. Meeting reminders presupposes that the meeting detail have been shared earlier. Next is implicator. Implicator is meaning that is understood indirectly. The first, indirect refusal. Saying I'm not feeling well implies inability to attend without saying it directly. The second is reminder. Mentioning time or deadlines implies urgency without direct comments. And the third is emotional expression. Statement about being tired imply a need for understanding or support. Next is metaphor. Express meaning through indirect comparison. In my data, expressions related to the head describe mental pressure, not physical pain. Another example is cuci gudang, which refers to a big sale. These metaphors makes message more expressive and easier to understand. Next is prototype theory. Prototype theory explains that some category members are more typical. In my data, rice is the prototype of a proper meal. Motorcycle represent transportation and water represent drinks. These choices reflect everyday experience and culture. And the last is speech acts. Speech act focus on what speaker do with language. In my data, an announcements about cleaning or collecting item function as directive. Even when praised politely, they still expect action. This shows that language function as action, not only information. Okay, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your nice attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.